Welcome back to Majestics. My name is Chase, and today I'm reviewing the top 5 Colossal Retaliators in Modern. This video is going to be done with a little different format than normal, so let me know in the comments below what you think, whether you like this style or the old one better. Other than that, if you do enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button below. We do videos like this weekly, plus a lot more. Also, if you want to stay current on the latest trends in HeroClix, become an Apex Insider over at MajesticCCG.com. It has some of the latest content from some of the best players in the game. Now, I do want to touch on a couple things before I get into the top 5 review, mainly about Colossal Retaliators. The main reason you're bringing a Colossal Retaliator to your team is for their Colossal Retaliation power. Other than that, they do have some cool features, just like the ability to carry smaller figures since they are colossal size. A lot of them have sidestep to help with that. They're cheap in cost. They can actually add some cool benefits like to theme teams because they do have usually some decent keywords. So it helps you with the map roll, or even if you can get some of them to be on a named theme team. But yeah, that's the main thing to talk about when it comes to Colossal Retaliators. Now, I do have 2 honorable mentions for the list. The first one I want to get into is Flora. What's pretty cool about Flora is she only comes in at 10 points, has a Cosmic Keyword, which can help on some teams, and that at the end of the turn, she actually gets to heal up past her starting click if you roll a 5 or a 6, and actually you get to do a 2 clicks if she's in water. The main thing about her is she's going to be able to carry a team member around because she is a Colossal. Her Colossal Retaliation power is not very good, hence that's why she's only an honorable mention, but you do see her on a lot of teams. The next one I do want to get into is going to be Mangog. The main thing with Mangog is he can do a lot of damage with his Colossal Retaliation power. Be able to hit everyone around it from 4 and then hit again for 3. He does have a lower attack at 10. It's not great. Gets the power Cosmic, which is kind of cool. But more importantly is just that ability to do a ton of damage. Now, why is he an honorable mention? Doesn't make the list. At 30 points, he's a little more expensive. He does have that 19 defense, which helps him out a lot. But he can end up getting picked off before anything can actually happen. But if he does get in there, it is kind of scary. Now, the other thing is everyone's going to be, what really they're attracted to him about is pull the Odin Sword power, trait. Pretty much if he's in an opponent's starting area and hasn't been placed or moved by another character's effect, a friendly character's effect, he gets to move to his bigger, his next starting line, which could be pretty much game changing. If you can pull that off, then that's just pretty much amazing. But for the most part, the reason you're bringing him is the amount of damage he can do with his Colossal Retaliation power. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the top 5 today. At number 5, we have Surtur. Surtur is great because he comes in at 25 points with a 12 attack, 18 defense, and 3 damage. The big reason that you're bringing him, though, is it says opposing characters can't use defense powers if they are the only target of Surtur's attack. That is extremely strong. It gets through all defensive powers. Along with stop clicks, it doesn't matter. It's just going to shoot right through them. The only thing that's going to really stop it is shape change. The next thing up is his Colossal Retaliation power, which is a single chose a character, put him there, all that good stuff. But his is a little different because it just single targets, and it also uses his damage. It doesn't have like a locked value of like 2, 3, 4, whatever some of these other ones do. That means that you can actually pump up his damage to empower, perplex, or if you have another way. Now all of a sudden, with enough help, he can get up to 6 damage and just chew right through someone's dial, practically just one-shotting a lot of pieces in the game. Along with the fact that it also says that after resolutions, deal 1 penetrating damage to each opposing character within 2 squares. That pretty much means that he's going to do 7 damage to somebody. I don't know many characters that have Invincible sitting at the back end of their dial. So it's just a really strong piece to be able to take somebody out or do a ton of damage and then just kind of ping a lot of the rest of the opposing team around him. So that's it about Surtur. Let's go ahead and look into number 4 today. Number 4 is going to be a Maridroid. A Maridroid's kind of deal is he comes in at only 15 points. He only has a 9 attack, which isn't that great, but you actually don't have to hit to pull off the best part of him. His Colossal Retaliation is pretty standard. Choose a target, hit everybody within 2 squares, hit characters dealt 3 damage. But the main thing is that after actions resolve, place the chosen character in any square within 6 squares in line of fire of a Marigdroid. Now, all of a sudden, you can take an opposing character and put them practically in the middle of your team. If you have to deal with something with a really good hypersonic or something like that, that's really frustrating because they're kind of yo-yoing themselves back and forth. Any kind of mechanic like that isn't going to be a problem for your team with him. Another thing too is if you have somebody that's based you, let's say like a mini shredder, which can be really frustrating trying to get away from. You can actually take that mini shredder and then throw him away from you so that you can still get your team out moving, or anybody with plasticity that's really frustrating that's locking down your team. So a Marigdroid just has this really cool ability, and he doesn't even need to hit to do it. So let's go ahead, move on to number 3 on our list, and that is going to be Skyscraper Wonder Woman. Now, Skyscraper Wonder Woman is another great one, coming in only 15 points. And she has actually many different things that she brings to your team. The first thing is that she gets improved movement, ignores blocking, and destroys as she moves through it. She can actually really get through a lot of blocking terrain that way because she's a 2x2 base, and she has sidestep on her Colossal Retaliation click. So that can just actually free up a lot of targeting lanes that you normally probably wouldn't be able to. The next thing is on that movement power that I talked about, which has sidestep. It also has plasticity. And if somebody fails the breakaway roll, you can give them an action token. If not, they're dealt 1 unavoidable damage. That is just a really strong mechanic right there, and it now forces them to have to attack her instead of maybe trying to do something else that they would want to do, and it can kind of screw up order of operations for your opponent. Her Colossal Retaliation power is one of my favorite though, and the reason for that is that she does a normal thing, place within the chosen character, hit everybody within 2 squares, but hit characters are each dealt 3 damage, and they can't move or be placed or make ranged attacks during their next turn. That literally locks down an enemy team, especially if they're bunched up in any way. Not being able to make ranged attacks. The other thing is not being able to be placed means no TK, nothing like that. The other part about not being placed that's really interesting is if, let's say, you're playing against Mistress Death, her whole thing is that when she's KO'd, she's placed in the starting area. You cannot do that now. So that means that she's just KO'd. So any other kind of game mechanics like that, Mini Shredder has something similar. He will still live, but he won't be placed adjacent to your characters. Just stuff like that it's all a very strong mechanic. So big fan of hers, and I can definitely see that she'll continue to see play in the meta because of all the diversity she brings for only 15 points. So let's go ahead and move on from her. We are going to go to number 2 on our list, and that is the Atom. The Atom has been a favorite for a long time, and he's another piece that only comes in at 15 points. He does have sidestep and 11 attack and empower, which is kind of one of those things that some people don't really think about until it's useful. So his Colossal Retaliation is really awesome because he does do the within 2 squares thing, hits everybody, all that good stuff. But it says opposing characters can't use combat reflexes, shape change, or super senses for this attack. Hit characters are each dealt 2 damage instead of normal damage, or 2 penetrating damage instead of normal damage. So now he's getting around almost every defensive power that you have to worry about, except for Invincible. And being able to do that to a whole enemy team is really strong. 2 penetrating damage and ignoring all that, there's just a really good chance it's going to hit. It's one of the most reliable damage dealing ones that you can think of, especially to hit that many characters. So that's the main thing with the Atom, but he also can be called in as an ID character because there is an Atom ID card, and that just kind of can be a really interesting way to get him on the board and be able to pull off his power, because this way he doesn't get picked off first. He's only Colossal Retaliator that I can think of that can pull that off, and sometimes your opponent just doesn't see it coming, and to play around that all game is just a really hard thing to do. So that's it for the Atom, and let's move on to number 1 in our list today, and that is, with no surprise, Carnage. Carnage is really strong because it's only 10 points. So 10 points, 11 attack, 3 damage. He's got the sidestep, which is, I think, really important for a Colossal Retaliator. Just kind of gets some nice opening things for your team to be able to do. The other thing is he does come with plasticity, which is nice. But the real reason is, like most of these Colossal Retaliators, is their power. And on this one, it's going to be that he makes an attack against chosen character, but after resolutions, you may generate a symbiote bystander adjacent to the chosen character. Now, the symbiote bystanders are really good. They're actually some of the better pogs in the game that you can generate. And the reason why is they come in an 11 attack with Blade's Claws. They have plasticity, but they also shape change and super senses. So they're not easy to get rid of. You have to deal with the plasticity. So now you have that to deal with. But then if you go to just make a normal attack against them, you got to deal with shape change and super senses. There's a good chance that they're still going to be there. So he's just a really frustrating, annoying piece with his own plasticity. Now you could be wasting 2 attacks between him and the bystander to get them off of you to keep your team from being locked down anymore. So that's the main thing with Carnage. He's really strong, and you'll consider to see multiple of him on many teams. That is it for our list today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe button. There'll be plenty more of these videos to come, so we'll see you next time.